Hey everybody, this is Rustin Rose with Metal Nation, and joining us today, Caesar of Zero Theorem. How are you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. It's wonderful to have you. For those who don't know Zero Theorem yet, you initially started making music with your cousin Joe, I believe, while you were on opposite sides of the country. I don't think he's in the band anymore at this point, but give us a little backstory on how Zero Theorem came together and maybe a little introduction to the other guys in the band.
Sure. We came together because, my cousin Joe and I started sending digital files to one another across country. I was in Chicago. He was in Los Angeles. And we just, things progressed. I thought we really had something. So I moved out to Los Angeles. And now within the last year or so, the full band come together within the LA music scene. We basically networked and ended up with Max, who's the guitar player, Jake's on drums, and Eloy's on bass, and with Joe taking more of a behind-the-scenes approach.
Nice. So he's still involved, just not actively in the band at the moment.
Yeah, songwriting, creatively, pretty much. He's just not going to be doing live things for the moment. So,
gotcha. Now, you had once said that the band's influences range from the satirical comedy of Mel Brooks to the pessimistic philosophy of Arthur Schopenhauer. Tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. I mean, that's kind of a wide range. I mean, that we have where, we have a sardonic approach sometimes to life and to music, because I feel like you have to get by. And yeah, I mean, basically any philosophers and we like to read up on that, but we can't take ourselves too seriously. So that's why that range comes into play.
So, who are some of the musical artists that the band draws influence and inspiration from?
Sure. I mean, one of the ideas of the band when it started basically was to blend the hard rock and of bands like Soundgarden and Alice in Chains, and with the uncompromising, brutality of metal, of Pantera and Metallica, and that that type of where the base of the band started.
Well, and you guys have hailed your sound as kind of a melodic, progressive groove metal, and you've drawn comparisons as diverse. Some of the bands you mentioned, as well as like Disturbed and Tool. Yeah,
it's pretty great to be compared to any band of that level, so we'll definitely take it.
I'm sure somebody's probably asked this before. You'll probably get it again 1,000 times, but did you pull the band name from the Terry Gilliam film?
We actually didn't. We thought that we just kind of heard of the concept. It's in mathematics, it allows for the solution of nonlinear equations for solving for zero. So we kind of took that in a philosophy, in a bigger manner, and came up with that it really means to us the search for meaning in the face of great difficulty or hardship of existence, and not the void of existence itself. We're fans of the director for sure, but that's not where the name is for us.
So you guys recently released the first single from your EP, Ataraxis. Tell us about the track.
Sure. It reflects the importance of one's identity and will. Whenever you embark on a new relationship or belief system or environment, there's the possibility that you'll be struggling with that. Right. And that's kind of the basic concept behind the song.
And you guys have already garnered a lot of traction with the single. That has to feel pretty good for a new band.
It does. It's a little bit of a, if anything, it gets us psyched up and ready to push on.
And you guys released the video for it back in October, I think, and it's got sort of an interesting sci-fi dynamic. Who came up with the storyline and the imagery for it, and sort of how does that tie in with the song itself?
Sure, we did it with Brian Cox of Flare Light Films. He's based out here in Los Angeles. He's a real creative guy, and we landed on the idea of the astronaut landing on a foreign planet. And the main character is dealing with multiple issues that are physically manifested on the planet. And by the end of the video, he's forced to face different versions of himself. And we just thought it was a very cool concept. It's got that that old school, like the 70s sci-fi video thing where you're not really sure what's going on. And we think it came out great.
Yeah, it did. I mean, even if you don't really understand sort of what's going on in the video, the song itself just lends it to the backdrop of that, and it just feels right.
It does. Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. So you worked with on the album with Kane Churko, Kevin's son. How'd that collaboration start, and what did he bring to the table?
Yeah, we basically we started to search for a producer, and he was right at the top of our list, and we sent him some demos, and he accepted, and we came out there and started working on a few tracks, and we've been in and out of there ever since. So he's really super talented guy, and he's made us better songwriters by helping to emphasize our strengths and explore new territory.
Yeah, he's a great producer. Obviously, he gets some of that from his father, I would hope, or at least he learns some of it from him.
Yeah, sure, for sure.
But now your debut, Ataraxis, releases May 4th. Is Area sort of indicative of what the rest of the record will sound like?
I think if people are pleased with Area, they'll be pleased with the rest of the record. But at the same time, we want to start to explore new territories, songwriting-wise, and while keeping our base that groove metal with progressive, with melody and progressive material mixed in. So, but you'll hear a very high-octane track. You'll hear a slower track that gets heavier as it progresses. Again, we're excited about it, and this time around we seem to have more traction and be more in the public eye with Area being on the radio. So I think it'll help us, grow.
What was really the most challenging aspect of making the EP?
The idea of you have these song drafts that are sometimes with you for upwards of a couple of years, and you bring them into the studio, and it might be a slight change, but it ends up being a large change in your head that you need to get around and make decisions quickly on the fly. So it's something of a term that we call demoitis, where you can't necessarily get over what you've heard 1,000 times from before, but you need to be able to make correct decisions on the fly and go with it.
Right. There's always that you take it into the studio thinking, okay, this is it, this is what we're doing, and you get in there and Kane might say something to you, or you realize, hey, this is really working the way we want it to, and suddenly you've got to shift something, but your head is still stuck in that old space. Exactly.
That's exactly what happens. It's kind of like the big hand in Jackass, where it smacks you in the face. That's basically exactly how you feel.
So the name Ataraxis means tranquil, I believe. One hardly thinks of metal as tranquil. How does the name sort of represent the music on the EP?
Sure, Ataraxis is right. It's peace of mind, it's tranquility, and for us, it's start embarking on the journey of the band is in many ways the only thing that can try to bring us to that impossible place, and we feel like that it was a perfect way to encapsulate the direction of the band and what really the catharsis of playing music, creating music, and it's also the title track. It's more about the impossibility of perfection. So we're excited about it. We think people are going to like it.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing all of it. Obviously, I don't have the rest of it right now to play, so on our way out of here today, who are one or two of the artists that truly influenced you as sort of a singer and songwriter, and maybe let's pick a song from them that we can play on our way out the door?
Let's see, I would say, again, a lot of the bands I mentioned, Pantera, Soundgarden, Metallica, Alice in Chains, so let's pick one. It was really tough on me when Chris Cornell passed, so let's pick a track from, I think he, lyrically, musically, and just the way he was, and of course I didn't know him personally, but when you hear stories, it just seems like he really connected with me personally on a large level. So I would say let's play some Soundgarden.
Perfect. We'll do some Soundgarden on the way out. Caesar, thank you so much for taking some time. Ataraxis out May 4th, Zero Theorem. Hopefully we'll get a chance to connect again after it's come out and we get to see how everybody sort of responds to the whole thing.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Take care, my friend.